Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FreedomCast News. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon so you don't miss our daily global updates and in-depth political breakdowns. Today's story is not just another headline, it's the beginning of something that could reshape Eastern Europe forever. What we are witnessing in Belarus right now is nothing short of extraordinary. Reports are flooding in about a military revolt that has taken the world by surprise. Soldiers once loyal to President Alexander Lukashenko are reportedly turning their weapons not toward the people, but toward the very system that has oppressed them for decades. And behind the curtain of this chaos stands one man whose long-standing ambitions are trembling: Vladimir Putin. His dream of maintaining total control over Belarus may finally be collapsing. The first signs of unrest appeared quietly. For months, whispers of dissatisfaction had been circulating among the lower ranks of Belarus's armed forces. Young soldiers, frustrated by endless drills and blind loyalty to a regime serving Moscow's interests, began to question their orders. Videos started surfacing online, soldiers refusing to salute Lukashenko's portrait, units marching under the historical red and white flag of Belarusian independence, and officers declaring they would no longer fight their own people. What began as isolated defiance soon exploded into full-blown revolt. Across the streets of Minsk, the capital, the atmosphere has shifted dramatically. Military trucks that once patrolled the city to intimidate protesters are now parked in defense of them. Civilians are waving flags, embracing soldiers, and chanting for freedom. The sound of hope echoes across neighborhoods where fear once ruled. The government's propaganda machine is struggling to keep control of the narrative. Lukashenko's ministers appear on state television claiming that foreign interference is behind the chaos, but few believe them anymore. Inside the presidential palace, the situation is tense. Lukashenko is reportedly holding crisis meetings with his most loyal generals, demanding loyalty oaths, while others have gone missing. Rumors suggest that several senior military officials have fled the country or are secretly negotiating with opposition leaders. The once unshakable image of the last dictator of Europe is beginning to crack. Sources inside Belarus report that the chain of command is collapsing faster than anyone expected. Some regions are now entirely under the control of rebel soldiers who have pledged allegiance to a newly formed National Defense Council, a group of officers calling for free elections and an end to foreign domination. Meanwhile, in Moscow, the Kremlin is in panic mode. Vladimir Putin, who has long viewed Belarus as a crucial buffer zone against NATO and a loyal satellite, is watching his influence unravel. His advisors are divided. Some urge him to intervene militarily, just as Russia did in Ukraine, to restore order. Others warn that another invasion could be disastrous both militarily and economically. Russia is already facing massive losses on the Ukrainian front, growing international isolation, and economic sanctions that are crippling its industries. Adding Belarus to that list could stretch Russia's power to its breaking point. The situation has placed Putin in a dilemma. For years he dreamed of a union state, a merged political structure that would bring Belarus fully under Russian control. Lukashenko, while publicly loyal, always resisted this idea behind closed doors. He played a clever balancing act between Moscow and the West, taking Russian loans and cheap oil while occasionally flirting with European diplomacy. But that game seems to have ended. The people of Belarus no longer want to be pawns in geopolitical chess. They have seen what's happening in Ukraine, and they are determined not to suffer the same fate. On social media, videos are going viral showing Belarusian soldiers speaking directly to the camera. One soldier, his face half covered by a scarf, declares, "We are done being Moscow's slaves. We are Belarusian. We fight for our land, not for Putin's dreams." That statement alone has become a rallying cry, shared millions of times online. Across Europe, Media outlets are calling it the Belarusian awakening. Political analysts suggest that this could be the moment Eastern Europe begins to break free from decades of Russian dominance. However, this revolution is not without danger. The fear of Russian retaliation looms large. Intelligence reports suggest that Moscow is already moving troops toward the Belarusian border under the guise of joint exercises. But this time, things are different. The Belarusian army is no longer unified under Lukashenko. Many of its soldiers have joined the people, and others are refusing to follow orders that could lead to bloodshed. For Putin, an invasion without local support would be a nightmare scenario. It could lead to mass desertions, street fighting, and yet another front he cannot afford to sustain. Inside Belarus, daily life has become uncertain. The government has imposed curfews, blocked several news outlets, and cut internet access in key regions. But even that hasn't stopped the spread of information. Civilians are using encrypted apps to organize protests and share updates. Human rights groups are documenting arrests and abuses, but they are also recording acts of incredible courage, citizens shielding soldiers from government loyalists, doctors treating the wounded in secret, and students raising money to support families of those detained. The economic toll is already visible. The Belarusian ruble is in freefall. Foreign investors are pulling out, and supply chains are breaking down. But for the people, this is the price of freedom. One protester told international media, "We know it will be hard, but we cannot live under fear forever. We want our children to grow up free, not controlled by Moscow." In the midst of the chaos, opposition leader Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, who has been living in exile since the 2020 election, has released a statement calling for unity. She urged both civilians and soldiers to remain peaceful and to avoid falling into Putin's trap of internal division. Her message is spreading fast, gaining support even among mid-ranking officers who were once skeptical of the opposition. For the first time, there seems to be a real chance of reconciliation between the opposition and the army. Across the world, governments are reacting cautiously. The European Union has expressed support for democratic aspirations but has stopped short of officially recognizing the new rebel movement. NATO, too, is closely monitoring developments, wary of triggering direct confrontation with Russia. The United States has urged restraint, calling for dialogue and respect for Belarusian sovereignty. But behind the scenes, intelligence agencies are certainly assessing the opportunities this revolt presents. A weakened Russia and a liberated Belarus could dramatically shift the balance of power in Europe. As the days go by, the situation grows more complex. In some cities, local councils have taken control of administration, declaring themselves free zones. Police forces are divided. Some still enforce government orders, while others have joined the uprising. The people are beginning to taste freedom, but they know that the hardest battles lie ahead. Inside Russia, the revolt is having an unexpected ripple effect. Social media posts from Russian citizens show growing frustration with their own government. "If Belarus can stand up, why can't we?" One post reads, "Putin's regime, already stretched thin by war and economic decline, is terrified of this kind of inspiration spreading across its borders." Analysts believe that if Belarus truly breaks away from Moscow's orbit, it could inspire similar uprisings in other Russian allied states. The psychological blow to Putin's image cannot be overstated. For 2 decades, he has presented himself as the master of stability, the restorer of Russian pride, the man who never loses control. But now, one of his closest allies is slipping away not because of Western interference, but because of his own overreach. The very strategy that worked to dominate smaller neighbors is backfiring. The dream of a powerful Eurasian empire under Moscow's control is collapsing before the world's eyes. There's a growing sense that history is being written in Belarus right now. This is more than just a revolt, it's a struggle between fear and freedom, between an empire and its awakening frontier. For the people on the streets, this is about dignity. For the soldiers who switched sides, it's about honor. And for the leaders watching from abroad, it's a reminder that even the mightiest authoritarian systems can crumble overnight when people refuse to bow down. As night falls over Minsk, the lights of protest continue to glow. Music plays softly through open windows, songs of hope, songs of defiance. Young people gather around makeshift barricades, waving their national flags and chanting for democracy. Every moment is charged with tension and possibility. Will the revolt succeed, or will it be crushed under foreign tanks? No one knows, but one thing is clear: the people of Belarus have crossed the point of no return. For Putin, the nightmare is not just the loss of Belarus, it's the loss of control itself. The illusion of invincibility that once surrounded the Kremlin is fading. His military struggles in Ukraine, his allies grow restless, and his own people are beginning to whisper what was once unspeakable, that the era of Putin might be ending. And so, the world watches. The next few weeks will determine not just the fate of Belarus, but perhaps the future of Russian influence across Europe. The collapse of control in Minsk could mark the beginning of a wider unraveling one that redefines borders, alliances, and power itself. FreedomCast News will continue to monitor every development of this extraordinary event. Our team is following reports from local journalists, verified footage, and diplomatic sources to bring you accurate, real-time coverage. If you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below: do you believe Belarus can truly achieve freedom from Russian influence? Your voice matters, and your opinion helps shape global awareness. Make sure to subscribe to FreedomCast News and turn on all notifications so you never miss our next update. The story of Belarus is still being written, and the next chapter could begin at any moment. Thank you for watching FreedomCast News. Stay informed, stay aware, and above all, stay free.